True freedom isn't touched by circumstance. True freedom is free, regardless of your condition. True freedom is free if you're in prison, if you're on the street, whatever particular circumstance you may be in, you can be completely free in that moment. Because freedom has different faces and shows up in different ways. There's political freedom, which is so important and so rare, to be able to have the freedom of speech, to have the freedom of assembly, the freedom to believe what you want to believe. These are certain human freedoms, and they're beautiful. The problem is when we take our human freedoms personally, we encapsulate an idea of freedom. Now, I have, from the time I was 18 in Alabama, I defined myself as a freedom fighter. And when I was 18, what freedom meant was that people had the right to vote. People in Alabama could actually vote. That, to me, represented a kind of freedom. That was what the freedom movement was about in those days, was political freedom. It's beautiful. And what's happening now, and in that, let me just say that as a freedom fighter, I fought against the government because I saw the government was committing genocide in Vietnam. I saw the government was corrupt. I saw the government was lying to us. And in that, I helped delegitimize the government in the 60s. Anti-war movement split the country apart. And that split has never been healed. And so now what I'm seeing, what's so interesting, is that this idea of freedom has been taken up by two opposite groups. There's the right-wing fascists who use the idea of freedom to be that I don't have to follow the rules of wearing a mask or getting vaccinated because I have my personal freedom, and my personal freedom comes before the collective good. And on the other hand, we have the New Age anti-vaxxers who have another conspiracy myth about wellness. Wellness is a deep trance. Why have wellness? The only reason you have wellness is to survive and flourish. And so it's all about personal survival and personal flourishing. But it gets turned into a spiritual thing. It gets turned into a belief system. And there, personal freedom then becomes the freedom to not be vaccinated. It's such a distortion of what freedom is. That's on the political level. Then there is freedom that is truly free. Because all of these freedoms are relative. They're relative to me. My free speech, my right to not wear a mask, my right to whatever it is. Those are relative freedoms, and they can be taken away. And they have come and gone over the ages. Mostly gone. And so spiritual freedom, true freedom, isn't touched by circumstance. True freedom is free, regardless of your condition. True freedom is free if you're in prison, if you're on the street, if you're in whatever particular circumstance you may be in, you can be completely free in that moment. To be free in that moment is to be untouched. To be untouched is to be silent, pure, and true to your own nature. This essential being is already pure, silent, untouched, and free. But this gets caught as a concept and a belief that you already are that, when in fact you're still acting out your egoic stuff. And in that way, this spiritual freedom gets turned into a concept, a belief, an idea that you already have it, and in that missing the essential, buying the imitation, the look-alike, when the real thing is here right now. But in order to be truly free right now, in this moment, you have to be willing to stop everything else. And that's rare, has been rare. But this breaking apart of our world trance creates an opportunity to pierce the veil. And the way we pierce the veil, on some level, is disillusionment. On a very basic level, if you're brought up in a religion, and then you see through the religion, and you realize the God isn't real, that's disillusionment. It's painful. Nobody wants to be disillusioned. It's painful. You're giving up your ideal of something. But also, in that disillusion, you are free of it. You're free of the trance of that religion. And so just like that, you can see through the government, you can see through the world, but finally you have to see through yourself. And when you see through yourself all the way, you become disillusioned with the idea of who you thought you were. You thought you were enlightened, you thought you were free, you thought you were happy and at peace, when really you were sometimes and not other times. And that's the difference. And if you notice that difference, then you want to know what's happened, not reporting on the good times, but what's going on in the not so good times. Examining yourself. How come you're not free in this moment? What are you attached to? You can't be free and attached at the same time, right? If you're attached, you're not free. You're attached to something. It's tethering you. If you're not attached to anything, you're free. So as our world is dying, my teacher sent me out on a search for intelligent life. And that's how we meet. My mission is your mission. I want what you want, truly. If you tell the deepest truth, what do you want? You want to be free. You want to be love. You want to be loving. You want to be loved. You want to be happy, finally. And you want to be fulfilled. So beautiful. That's what we all want. The trap is if you chase that. If you chase happiness, you'll never find it. You'll find it and lose it, and find it and lose it, and find it and lose it. If you chase fulfillment, same thing. You'll never be satisfied. If you chase happiness and fulfillment, you'll never catch them. But if you surrender to truth, if you surrender to love, if you surrender to the insight of intelligent consciousness examining itself without favor, the byproduct of realization is fulfillment, happiness, love, inside and out.